it comes to politics. Yeah, I'm well past the tinfoil hat stage. I need a good helmet for the banging my head against the wall stage. The Kate Dalley Show starts now.
Would you speak to the people who believe it is a worthwhile vaccine and it is saving lives? Are they just dead wrong? Are they been fed a line from the federal government?
Tim, I appreciate the opportunity to speak to the people that went ahead and got the jab. I speak their language. I would speak to them thusly. Bah, 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 bah. They understand that.
Well, so all these millions of people that got the shots, they're just stupid?
Yep.
All right. Welcome, Kate Dalley Show on a Friday. Yeah, that was Ted Nugent. Oh, you got to love the candor. I mean, he did not serve that up in a soft way. That's for sure. Welcome to the show today, and we're going to tie up a lot of loose ends. We're going to give a lot of information. I say we, it's me. Boy, I sound like one of those pronoun people. We, they. So I want you to call in because I remember doing a show. Gosh, this was probably, I don't even know how many years ago. And I remember asking this basic question, and I can't even tell you how the calls came flooding in. This was probably, the first time I asked this was probably 8 years ago, maybe 7 years ago. And I said to everybody, okay, what are you afraid to say? What are you thinking? But what are you afraid to say? Because you know the kind of reaction you're going to get. And we had all these calls coming in. And I mean, the phone lines were flooded. I hated even going to break because it was this moment where people just felt like, okay, I'm going to call in. I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking. I don't even care how crazy it sounds because you're not saying your name when you call in, right? And you can just say what you want to say and at least put it out there because if you're thinking it, I know you want to say it. So there isn't a whole lot of places anymore where you have a national audience that will probably be sitting there. If you say something that seems unbelievable, you're going to be surprised about how many people actually feel the same way or are getting hit with that little feeling. So I have a lot of clips today to kind of showcase some added information for some things that we covered this week. Just some extra tidbits, extra things that add to the story, like 9/11. And then also some new ones. And I want to play a little bit of, I'm going to start out with a BBC interview a year before the moon landing here in America. But they did this interview on the BBC. And it's a really fascinating interview because he's basically putting out there that he knew that our moon landing was going to be faked. And so it's kind of an interesting clip. It was done in 1968. And I also want to hear from you. So I also have some uplifting things too, but it's like loose ends, like a whole bunch of things that we need to say on the show because then it kind of gives a more clear picture. At the same time, I want to take your calls. And if there's information that you have come across that you want to share with everybody else, this would be the day to do it because it's open phone lines. So I'm going to give you the number, and I want you to either text this to yourself or go into your notes on your phone and write it down. So that way you can call if you're listening in the afternoon, because hearing from you is the best. It's like the best part of this show because I love the homework you do. I love the research you do. And we have a lot of eyeballs awake on this show, which I absolutely love, and we're not afraid to tackle any subject. You know, it's funny, I get a lot of blowback. You can't even believe the blowback when I say the word moon landing because people get so triggered by that. They're so in love with the narrative because it's something in their life. It's like they're married to it because they made it part of their life. Like they actually made it part of their childhood. And if you say that we may have been lied to, which the new movie out is disinformation, but it alludes to the fact that they lied about it. Okay. But then it's disinformation and wraps it up with a bow and tells you they actually did it. But there is a movie that actually goes, yeah, we may have lied about it. If I go there, or if I go, well, there's a lot of places I can go, but that's when I get put into the conspiracy box. Okay. I try to bring you what I'm thinking, my ideas, like things that hit me, ideas that hit me. I'm really honest on this show about how I'm feeling about things. And I may not always get it right, but I will say this. I put a lot of thought and a lot of research into stuff before I even talk about it on the show. And many times I've gone down rabbit holes that actually did not seem like a rabbit hole once I got down to the bottom of it. So I left it. And it's not worthy to be able to be talked about on the show because there was nothing there. You know what I mean? So 888-673-1450. And you can call about anything that's going on right now. Now, the reason I brought up that show where people were calling in like crazy is because if you think about how much has changed in the last 8 years, it's like we're a completely different mindset. We're a completely different country. We're a completely different thinking. At the time, people were blown away by my 9/11 shows. And so that was kind of interesting, but it was strange for people to hear those things that Rebecca Roth had to say. And there were so many more things we didn't even talk about on Wednesday. But I want to hear from you. I truly do. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show. Go right ahead.
Good morning, Kate.
Hey, go right ahead.
Hey, I raise rabbits. I have a lot of rabbit holes. If you want to come and go down them, you're welcome.
You got it. I'm the perfect person for that. No, go ahead. Anything else?
I was in Texas, Houston, Texas, on a mission in 1969, and I went to the facilities there and purchased some things. I've still got them, big pictures and things that I think are credible. So I think you're in the wrong rabbit hole on this one.
Really? On the moon landing?
Just like you were on Sandy Hook.
Really? Okay. Fair
enough.
enough.
Yeah, because I know a guy, Dave Checketts, who used to work for the Utah Jazz. He lived in Sandy Hook at the time of that, and he has personally told me that it really did happen.
Okay. Well, I guess we can all have different opinions, right?
Well, it's not an opinion. It's a fact. You need to do a little better research.
Okay. Well, thanks. Okay. And I do look at a lot of facts, and so I will disagree with you. I heartily disagree with you on that. I've poured so much research into that. I would say do your homework. Okay. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show. Go right ahead.
Yeah, hi, Kate.
Hi.
I appreciate your show, and just wanted to say that I think you did a really good job bringing up the subject of that shooting down in Vegas. There's a lot more that needs to be said about Lombardo lying consistently, and I just wanted to bring up the fact that the U.S. has just now declared war with Russia with the agreement to send Ukraine advanced weapons, missiles, and I'm not sure that the American people understand the consequences of that, and Putin has stated that, it's a declaration of war, NATO and the U.S. against Russia. Okay. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I think there's a lot more to that story. I really do. I do. I think there's a lot more. I'll come back and visit that. But there's so much more to every story. And Russia's an interesting one because we went along with the hyped fear for so long as the enemy. It doesn't mean they couldn't be one. It's just after 70 years of nuke talk, I'm just a little worn out from Russia. The fact that they have never struck or done anything to, things to us. Actually, I think most of that has been conjured up by the CIA, to tell you the truth. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show. Go right ahead.
Kate, in the early 60s, or in the 60s, as a little kid, I saw the movie Dr. Strangelove.
Okay.
And they just the other day came out that, yes, we're putting fluoride in the water to dumb people down.
Yep.
And now it's gone.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. I'm with you.
In little children's ice cream, Kate.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Can't wait to see that movie again, too.
Right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yes. And there's plenty of fluoride. On Sandy Hook, I've probably done over 1,000 hours just on Sandy Hook alone. And I can tell you, you might want to look under the hood on that one. Just because one person in his perception tells you it's true does not make the whole event true. There are way too many holes, and that thing was riddled with questions. So that's not enough research and homework for me. One guy said it happened. They can fool a lot of people, actually. I actually listened to the tape of emergency services talking back and forth that whole morning, and you would have never thought anything was going on that was real. More like a drill. Anyway, also on the moon landing, I have done thousands of, I can't even tell you how many hours on the moon landing, because I wanted to know. I wanted to know personally. And I'm glad I did, because there isn't a doubt in my mind that we faked it. So, hi, caller. Welcome to the show. Go right ahead.
Yeah, the one thing I like to say is that I tell people this all the time that our government's gone. Mm-hmm. It's been gone for a very, very long time. Mm-hmm. I tell people this because they always want hope. But this whole thing we see on our network TVs, it's just a dog, like you always say, a dog and pony show. Yeah. It's just entertainment. The debates are entertainment. The people that they put into office is who they want in office, no matter what. And I've been saying that, and I get a lot of people that don't agree with me. You know?
Course.
And with Sandy Hook, can I mention something real quick?
Yes, please.
There was, I don't know if it was your radio show or another show I listened to.
40
there
seconds.
was a gentleman that lived in Florida that called in. He was the superintendent of two counties.
Wolfgang.
Right, and he turned around and stated that school was closed. That school had no dumpsters outside of it. The lines were all worn down. He said that school was not operable. Yep. And he went down there. He went to their civic meeting. They almost wanted to kill him. He had to get out of there.
He's been threatened so many times he stopped talking. Wolfgang is his name.
So you know what I'm talking about then.
I do. Okay. I had him on twice, and he gave so many alarming facts. And as a person that did that for a living, very credible, and that's why they had to silence him. I so appreciate you bringing that up. And people can Google that show, The Kate Dalley Show. Wolfgang Halbig, is that what? Anyway, be right back. Kate Dalley Show.
Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2024, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Sounds rolling, all three cameras, we're good.
Is there any regrets that you have in life? I should sit here and say, I got a lot of regrets. But when I look back on my life and I understand the lives that were lost, I mean, I'm sitting here with you. And I can tell my story.
Former National Security Advisor, Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, pleaded guilty today to lying to the FBI.
He was one of the most respected generals in the military.
He was, by definition, the most dangerous possible person for Donald Trump to hire.
Brilliant military career serving 33 years.
Why was he being so elusive?
Mike Flynn told the truth and faced life in prison.
Every American needs this historical DVD keepsake. Flynn delivered the truth, whatever the cost. Hand signed by General Michael Flynn, one of America's most treasured military heroes. Order now at the Patriot TV store. Go to Patriot TV, click on Store, and grab a once-in-a-lifetime chance to own a treasured piece of American history and get your own personal download link to watch America's most talked about movie, as well as a DVD hand-signed by General Michael Flynn. Use promo code PTV at checkout to get special savings. The Patriot TV Store. Incredible savings and a secure, hassle-free shopping experience.
This is the Kate Dalley Show.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Kate Dalley Show, where we go places other shows won't and talk about things, and it's okay to talk about things, I promise. And I don't think there is anything that we shouldn't bring up. I think that we should always talk about everything. And if that unnerves people, which mostly it's always politicians that it unnerves, and then, of course, some people out there, how dare you say that the thing I believe in the most isn't true? You know what? It's okay to actually bring in new info. It's actually okay to say, okay, well, why do you feel that way? I always think that's a great conversation. Always good. Always a learning tool. So welcome back to the show. And I want to play a clip for you, actually. Let me do this. This was a BBC interview. And listen carefully to what he says. And this was a year before we landed on the moon. Okay, here we go.
You're going to make this happen?
No. We're going to make models much cheaper. Then we photograph the models.
Fake newsreels?
Fake newsreels. For the past 10 years, people have been looking at our fake newsreels and listening to our fake commentaries.
And they accept it for the truth. And you can do it. Stop 100 people in the street. How many of them have actually seen a missile or a satellite? They're just told they exist and they believe it.
Yes, you're getting there. I knew you would. You didn't really believe there were all these things whizzing about up there, did you? Sputniks and rockets. Astronauts crossing their legs for 8 days.
How long has this been going on?
Since Hiroshima.
And the H-bomb, you mean, that doesn't work either?
Right. Dirty.
Very, very dirty.
What was your first reaction? Relief. Oh, yes. Yes, it has to be relief.
You say you can put out what pictures you like on television. Doesn't anybody try to stop you?
No, nobody wants to. 99.386% of the population wouldn't believe this conversation. And the rest are working for us. And they're the top minds, the really responsible people. Scare an ostrich, buries its head in the sand. You scare a hedgehog, it rolls itself up into a ball. When a woman's frightened, she goes out and buys herself a hat.
You mean you scare us so that we'll buy more, so that money moves quicker, production moves up?
We don't say scare when we talk about human beings. We say threaten them emotionally. And there are all sorts of ways, not just the big ones like the hydrogen bomb. Overcrowd them a little with bad planning. Sell them too many motor cars. Anything to keep them a little bit removed from reality.
From reality. He talked about fake newsrooms for the last 10 years and at the time, which would have been in the 50s. And then, of course, we make models of things and we make pictures of those things and instead of sending things up. And so it's really kind of an interesting thought. And I'd like to know what you think about that. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show. Go right ahead.
Yes, I'd like to give you some valuable history on subjects you've recently talked about. One was even today. But last Friday, and I couldn't get in, and on Monday when you brought it up again, I couldn't get in. But you talked about that, you presented that document, and it talked about the plans of the conspiracy. One was to increase the military might of the UN, apparently so no other nation can compete with it. Remember that?
I do.
Yeah. Right. Well, what I have to say is it's not only a document or somebody saying it's going to happen, it is U.S. law. And you can go online as an 18-page pamphlet. John Birch Society used to hand these out, maybe hundreds of thousands, if not, I'm talking about our members, or maybe 1 million of them. It's called Freedom from War. It's a U.S. U.S. State Department publication. The other name of it is U.S. State Department publication 7277, or Freedom from War. It's a PDF file, and I recommend you read it because they said the U.S. This was during the Kennedy administration in 1961. He established this treasonous U.S. federal regulation, and in it says the goal is for the UN to disarm simultaneously as the UN arms, so and promote the same policy throughout the world, so that no nation's military can compete with the military of the UN. You'll just can't believe what you're reading. This is U.S. law, and then we wondered, JBS wondered if it was still in place, and about a dozen years ago, the president of JBS, Tom McManus, went to the State Department and wanted to be sure they're still carrying that policy out. Of course, they can't carry it out too openly.
I got to go to a break. But okay.
And they are carrying it out.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I talked about the idea of the UN and our military combining as one force, called one force. Be right back. Kate Dalley Show.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature-regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your My Pillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
MyPillow.com.
All right, caller, you're on. You're live.
Yes, I wanted to mention I rarely have heard it since the time that the hearings were going on and the jury was making their decision in New York about Trump, and only 4 people in the jury had to agree to any one of the many charges. That's totally upending any court procedures that I've ever heard about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's upside down, and I never hear anybody talking about that ever.
Yeah. Well, we did on the show a little bit.
My understanding was if one of the 12 did not agree to something, it would be a hung jury.
Yeah.
So to only have to have 4 on any one of the accounts, and of course, the makeup of the jury was not hard to get 4.
Right.
Anyway, I just feel like that needs to be talked about more and have people understand. Are you changing every single rule in our country that we've lived by for how many decades and generations?
Have you ever thought that there might be CIA courts that look like regular courts, but they're built for the reason of being able to do those types of things and to create theatrics?
Well, it was certainly a set of theatrics. Anyway, and then the other issue I did want to mention that with all this talk about the IVF procedures, I believe that would be very detrimental to our society, simply because, first of all, it's not right to have people pay for things that aren't necessary in terms of basic health. I mean, otherwise we're talking communist country if we have to pay for everything.
Yes.
And but the bigger problem is how many adopted children would never be adopted. I have a daughter who adopted 2 children that had been abused, and they have some long-lasting problems from abuse, but she got them before the end of their 2nd and 3rd year.
Right.
and now they're 11 and 12. And, there's still adjustments going on with the PTSD that they suffered. But those children may or may not. I don't know. I've never asked her. But anyway, the bottom line is I just thought about the number of children who would not be adopted, and that would be just a horror for our world to have children not being adopted. So there again, I just that one thing alone would.
I agree, and it is not the role of a president, nor is it the role of our government in order to be able to pay for everybody's IVF. So we called that out because people need to really look at that and not bypass it.
Things need to be talked about in terms of.
I agree.
Again, it's the designer children. I mean, how many babies might it take to manufacture the particular color of eyes and hair and this and that and the other thing? So
I'm with you.
It's so dangerous. It is so dangerous.
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you so much for all you do.
Oh, thank you. Really appreciate that. We've actually addressed both of those things, but we did address that because anytime, I don't care who the candidate is, okay? When you're declaring to do something that's so completely unconstitutional, you have to call it out. And if you're honest, you will. And it doesn't matter what tribe. The parties are tribes, and that just can't be. I'll take your calls. It's open phone lines today. I'd love to hear you call in. You can share anything as far as things that you've noticed, things that research you've done. If you want to share that with everybody, things you're afraid to say. A lot of times people are thinking something and they think, well, this is too far out there, so I can't say it. On this show, yeah, you can. And I welcome it because why would I not? If we're really going to be about truth, then we can't sideline stuff, right? As far as CIA courts go, I think there's more of that going on than most people realize. I think there's a lot more of that going on. By the way, I'll take the caller in just a second. By the way, we said on the show a year ago, and then again 6 months ago, that President Trump would not go to prison. And remember, the news headline said that he would go to prison like daily, okay? For a while there, it was before the convention and during this whole thing. And again, more charges were dropped, more counts were dropped. Now, all the counts are absolutely asinine and ridiculous, but I'm just showing you that we said on the show, hey, this will not happen. And the news kept saying it would, and that he was going to go to prison for one of the 4 cases and yada, yada, yada. Did not happen. And I still stand by that. And you can see the case is kind of dwindling now, right? Not in the press, really. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show. Go right ahead.
Kate, can you hear me okay?
I can. You have about a minute. Go for it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
I've heard you comment on this before, and it's like regarding that nice lady's call just now.
Mm-hmm.
The court is just a show for us, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they made up some crazy rule about 4 jurors needing to agree, because it's a total show.
Mm-hmm.
And MAGA is, in sorcery, the highest form of magic. So they're playing a big trick on us.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's real. And, no offense, but I think it's very similar to the Alex Jones case,
mm-hmm.
where people were poking tons of holes through that, where that whole thing was just a ruse. And the reason that he was, penalized with $1 billion, it's kind of like Dr. Evil saying $1 million, like $1 trillion. It was so high because it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's never going to get paid. It was meant to discourage people like yourself
mm-hmm.
not to look at Sandy hoax and the other false flags.
Okay. I thank you. I'm glad you called in. Thank you. And brought up some great stuff. Do we have CIA dummy courts? Mm-hmm. I do think so. Yeah. Done some homework on that, and I would say I would be more inclined to say yes on that than no. And that's how they get away with some of the crazy stuff they do that's not normally done in a regular court or crazy amounts of money pinned on people. And, the cases like with Trump, now the Stormy Daniels cases, after the election. There again, I say, we knew a year ago that this is how that would play out, and stood by our word and said, I promise you, he won't go to prison. Kind of interesting what we're up against in fakery. So it's kind of like the clip I played where the guy goes, yeah, we have fake newsrooms. We've had those for 10 years. Interesting, isn't it? That would have put it in the 50s. Okay. Mockingbird. To be right back. Kate Dalley Show.
I don't know about you, but I have to have that cup of coffee in the morning. And Kingdom Cup is mold-free, it is pesticide-free, and it is organic. It's got this flavor that is delicious. You don't even have to put cream or sweetener in it.
Why did we go with the bean form, the whole bean? Because ultimately the powder form is the one that gathers the most moisture. And that means the more potential mold development. This is actually organic, mold-free, certified. That's important because ultimately people drink coffee. It's cultural. And so we tried to meet the culture where it is and create a healthy alternative.
Make the healthy choice for you and your family. Try mold-free, pesticide-free, and it's organic. Delicious Kingdom Cup coffee. And it's available now at the Patriot TV store. Go to patriot.tv and click on store. You'll find Kingdom Cup coffee in the health and wellness section. Order Kingdom Cup coffee at the Patriot TV store now.
The web address for FIQ has changed. They have a brand new site called FIQsupplements.com, and that's where I get mine. In fact, be taking copper and magnesium, vitamin C, all kinds of things. I would put in the code Kate to get even extra savings, even off the already steal of a price, right? So FIQsupplements.com, FIQsupplements.com. And go there and put in the code Kate and get some wonderful supplements there. And also on patriot.tv, Patriot.TV, or on your Roku, it's Patriot TV, and you can download that and watch it in bed if you want to, or watch it on your couch at night at 8 o'clock Mountain, 10 o'clock Eastern. And then you just put in the code Kate, and you get that subscription with a great savings attached to it. And you actually get more benefits from joining. So, because it pays for itself. It's amazing what they're offering. So go check that out. Very, very worthwhile for sure. I'm taking your calls. It's open phone lines today. And I want to know, what are you afraid to say out loud? What are you observing? What do you think's really going on? The media is really trying to bury the Springfield story in Ohio. I think there is more going on there. All kinds of stuff going on. All kinds of lying going on. And I've got lots more clips I got to get to, too. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show. Go right ahead.
Hi, Kate.
Hi.
Again, thank you for everything that you do.
Sure.
We appreciate your honesty.
Thanks.
I'm kind of curious about this whole Trump shooting, especially now that they've come out and said that the Homeland Security is urging the Secret Service not to turn over papers, evidence to Congress. That's a huge cover-up on what I'm looking at.
Could be. Absolutely. Could be. That's a tough one, because when I first observed that, I thought, if they wanted him dead, he would have been dead. And it seemed really kind of a weird set of things going on stage, and things that normally wouldn't happen. And then you've got these weird Secret Service agents that look like they didn't know what they were doing, like they look like they're actors. And so I know that people really feel like that actually happened, and that it was an act of God that kept him turned a certain way. I listened to all of it. Have I completely made up my mind? No, but I lean more towards something felt really orchestrated about it, but I'm always open to information, for sure. How do you feel about it?
I think, honestly, I really don't know, because things just don't add up.
Yeah.
One thing is the guy walked around before even getting on the roof and nobody noticed this guy. Then they say they did notice him, and then they didn't do anything, and he was 150 feet away. Things just don't add up.
Right.
And then now they're saying that the lead Secret Service is a female that didn't even pass her test, and she was in charge of all this. So it smells stinky.
It does, and Cheadle, the one that had to resign, right, over this. Well, she had to resign. She was in tight with the Cheneys. She's the one that escorted Cheney away from the 9/11, like to his place that he went when 9/11 was happening. She's very much a part of the club. So interesting. Isn't it?
I just think there's so much corruption and so much lying to the American people that you don't even know where to turn or who to believe anymore. The media, completely 100%. That's a joke. I don't even care what news source you're looking at. But it's getting so frustrating for us as Americans to be like, what do we believe? I feel like we're in a circus.
I feel like that too. I feel like that every day, and it's getting worse. And so that's why I kind of compared it to 8 years ago, because it's getting much worse in the fact that they don't even care when they're caught lying. I mean, there were so many lies coming out of Hormala during that debate, and no one would stop and go, "That's not true. That's not true." And so you know that the media is the lying scumbaggery that it is, and you know that they're going to do it, and they don't even care that they're caught doing it. So that's a whole new level of lying.
Apparently, there's an affidavit that's coming out now saying that it was a setup, which we all knew that was a setup.
Yes.
That the person, the sorority sister of, I can't remember her first name, but her last name was Davis. That was one of the moderators. Is a sorority sister to Kamala, and the lady that is in charge of ABC is a very good friend of hers and actually introduced her to her husband. But there's an affidavit now that's coming out saying that she did have the questions, and they told her that they would fact check Trump the entire time, but never her. Well, that's pretty obvious, because the first 11 minutes that she spoke, she had like several lies.
Yeah, I know. And so they're not afraid anymore to just put it out there.
And it's just disgusting. It's disgusting to see that our country is in this position, and that us as Americans, we got to wake up. There's people out there that are still like, oh, I'm going to vote for her because she's the first female. We got to wake up, because we're going to lose our country no matter what. Yes, 100%. But thank you for your time.
Thank you. I really appreciate the phone call. I really do. I appreciate the honesty people are putting out too, because it's tough right now. And I know you feel this. I feel it. You feel it. We get it. The lying has escalated. And they used to be able to pass stuff off for truth, or at least act like, that what they thought was truthful. Now it's the intent of lying right in front of your face. And it doesn't seem like anyone's stopping that anytime soon. So it's going to get worse. The fakeries get worse too. Here's my question, though, to think about over the break. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to take all your calls. I'm going to try and put as many calls in as I can today. I do have clips too. But let me say this. Had we figured out all of the fakeries that I bring up on the show incessantly over the last 14 years, had we figured out some of this, instead of acting like, don't you dare tell me that's fake, and how dare you question the narrative? Our government loves us and they want to tell us the truth. Okay, had we understood and asked and said, wait a minute, would we be in this spot today? Or is this because a majority have so much cognitive dissonance that it is so clouding their judgment, and they literally cannot handle you questioning anything? So they have to put a big old label on you out of fear. You're a conspiracy theorist because you see these things. You see these connections between people, like the caller just mentioned. Or wait a minute, we didn't have the technology to do that in 1969. We couldn't have even come close to the technology in 1969. Even Buzz Aldrin actually got on Conan O'Brien, was it 2004, 2001, and said, you didn't see it live. You saw a simulation. And Conan went, what? Look, had we questioned more, would we be in this spot today where they do not mind lying to your face and knowing that there's tape to roll that contradicts what they're saying, knowing that it's a bold-faced lie. It's like saying 5 people died at the Capitol that day on January 6th. They didn't. They did not, and it's already been debunked. But they don't mind lying to you about it again. Formala did. She lied to everybody about that again. Not fact-checked. So I don't think we'd be in this state had we woken up earlier. Be right back. Kate Dalley Show.
Looking to give your wardrobe an upgrade? Well, look no further. Here at God Country & Kin, we've got you covered from head to toe, from shoulder to shoulder, and everything in between. Introducing our brand new Patriotic Collection, designed to display your patriotic spirit with a stylish look that's sure to turn heads. And the best part is, you don't have to break the bank to be your best you. Why wait? Visit us online or in-store today and elevate your style with God Country & Kin. God Country & Kin, where patriotism meets style. Shop now. Visit the Patriot TV store and look for the God Country Kin banner to find the perfect outfit, shirt, accessory, or maybe a great hat. You can totally see yourself rocking this hat. I know you can. And check out all the great stuff we've got to show your patriotism at patriot.tv.store. Click that link above that says store and join me there at the Patriot TV store.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, my name is General Mike Flynn, and I'm here to talk about a limited time offer of subscriptions to Patriot.tv and how you can become a member of our Patriot Defenders subscription club and become a member of Patriot.tv. Really, it's America's network. I call it the home of truth. And you can do that for only $9.99 a month. It's a great deal by itself, but what I'm going to walk you through here in these next few seconds is a couple of package deals that we have that are unbelievable. The next membership was the annual membership at $99 that you can save. Right away, you save $20 if you come in at the annual subscription rate. The best deal that I think that people ought to seriously consider is the 2-year membership at $159. And it includes a special edition of my recently released documentary, Flynn, Deliver the Truth, Whatever the Cost. So along with the 2-year membership, the 2-year subscription will send you a DVD combo of the film, plus an option to stream the movie online, as well as exclusive interviews of Tucker Carlson, Devin Nunes, and myself. So go to the home of truth, right? Go to Patriot.tv today, sign up, seriously consider the 2-year subscription rate. It's an unbelievable savings. I think it's a total savings of about $70 from just signing up on a monthly or a annual basis. So thank you very much for your support. Patriot.tv is America's new network. Thank you.
When it comes to politics, I'm well past the tinfoil hat stage. I need a good helmet for the banging my head against the wall stage. The Kate Dalley Show starts now.
This is a CNN reporter with a camera crew. And he came out and told everybody, within 3 weeks, Osama bin Laden is going to attack the United States and Israel. With the biggest budget in the history of the world, has been looking for Osama bin Laden for years and years and years, and can't find him. The FBI also, under the leadership of Louis Freeh, has been looking for Osama bin Laden for years and years and years and years and years and many years, and can't find him. Some doofus jerk-off reporter with a camera crew waltzes right into his hideout and interviews him.
A year ago, bin Laden took refuge here in Afghanistan. Afghanistan is perhaps the only country in the world that will accept him.
Everyone in the intelligence community and all of the intelligence agencies of the United States government are blithering idiots and incompetent fools, including the entire apparatus of the FBI and all of their personnel. Are they lying to us? They're not looking for him at all. And the second is the truth. You see, the CIA created Osama bin Laden. They recruited him. They trained him. They found his leadership. They brought them all together. They showed them how to fight the Soviet Union in Afghanistan, and when that was over, they still continued to fund him and train him, and they're now using him to help bring about world government by making him the big boogeyman because they can't use Saddam Hussein anymore.
Powerful words from Bill Cooper, who was murdered. He actually said, he actually predicted the attack and then predicted that Osama bin Laden would be the patsy for it and then was murdered. Yeah. So there's that. Welcome back to the show. Today is open phone lines, and I want you to be able to say the things you want to say. As far as that goes, 8 years ago, we started the show off with a question, and the phone lines just exploded. I explained this in the first hour, and it was, what are you afraid to say? Now, a lot has changed in the last 8 years. We went through Blovid. I call it that because it blows, the whole thing. We've gone through a lot together, right? And we've seen a lot of the lying. So now more people are awake. So it's an interesting conversation at this point. I remember bringing things up during that show, and people were shocked, right? I don't think people are as shocked anymore. After going through Blovid, I actually don't think the shock is there. I think that people go, okay, I mean, we just saw what government's capable of. There's so much more that government's capable of. I'm going to take your calls. Here's the number. If you're listening to me in the afternoon, it's 888-673-1450. 888-673-1450. And I want you to call in. I want to hear from you. What's on your mind? What are you looking at that other people, you think maybe other people don't see? What are your thoughts on Springfield, Ohio? What are your thoughts on the debate? What are your thoughts on everything that's going on in this election year? Do you suspect things that are hard to say because people might demonize you for it? Well, I won't, because I'm always all ears, because of the fact that in 14 years, you can only imagine how many lies have been told by the government and how many rabbit holes I've been down personally, that we must listen. We must at least take the information in. And I think people can be very idiotic when they refuse because it might, I think people don't want to have that gotcha moment, or they lied to me and I believed it kind of moment. I'm actually okay with that because I know I was very gullible before I started doing the show. So, I mean, come on. There has to be a point where you go, yeah, okay, I was taken for a ride on that. So what? Who cares? The world's not going to end. And if you've combined narratives with your childhood, that happens a lot with the moon landing. If you become one and you're married to that, and oh my gosh, they would never lie about that. How would they keep that down? How would they keep such a big secret? Oh, you'd be shocked. And so much stuff's coming out, and so many people now are questioning that because we didn't have the technology. Here's Gaddafi, though, on 9/11. Now, Gaddafi was also murdered right after this because he was being questioned by Larry King, and you'll hear his translator, and then you'll hear him, and then you'll hear his translator. Listen up. This is only 45 seconds. And it's not playing. Okay. Basically, Gaddafi was on there, and what he was talking about was, it's just not playing for some reason. What he was talking about was that America did the act of 9/11. They were mostly behind it, and it was not done in Afghan. It was not done by an Afghan, and it was not done by Osama. And of course, he was murdered right after that. They took him out. So, that's always interesting. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Kate. I called a couple of senators who I think are taking the bull by the horns and investigating what really happened in Butler. And I told them they can call me crazy, insane, whatever they want. But I think that was the second attempt to assassinate Trump. I think the first was the invasion of Mar-a-Lago, where the search warrant authorized force if necessary. And I think they would have killed him and then staged the scene.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for calling in. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I want you to know that I'm open. I just want to hear everything, right? And then there's always that little voice said to me, that first little voice. You know, you got to listen to that first little voice. I always think that's that's a God thing. That's very, very interesting. That first little inclination. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show. Go right ahead.
Hey, Kate. So I live here in Idaho, and as you know, across most of the western states, every summer there always seems to be huge fire outbreaks everywhere. And you're like, that seems real suspicious to me. I don't believe that these are all natural. I believe they're set intentionally because there's a huge multi-million-dollar industry around fighting fires. And the state sucks up tons of money, and they pay people on the payroll. And I think all this stuff is a fabrication. It's not. I mean, the fires are real, but they're not. They're not set naturally. They're not by accident.
Well, hence PG&E. 84 counts of manslaughter during the year of COVID because their equipment. It was called out that the fires were started by PG&E.
Right.
They pled guilty. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it. I think it's twofold. I think you can say state of emergency. You can get lots of FEMA money in there. They funnel money to the states through FEMA. And then I also think there is something about getting people off those lands. Those lands are, I think it's a quest to actually herd us in a way like cattle. I really do. There are so many marketing articles about, gee, people really want to go. You really want to leave now that there's no protection for fires, now that your house could burn up because of our horrible policies. You want to go now, right? Wink, wink. Like you want out, right? It's kind of amazing, actually. So I do think there's a concerted effort for that, for sure. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show. Go right ahead.
Well, hey, Kate. How are you doing today?
I'm good. This is an interesting show today. Go ahead. I love it.
Hey, a couple people have touched on this, but I don't know if you have seen, there was a ballistics expert that had a former Marine / sniper teacher, and they went through the ballistics evidence, and it's 2 hours, but it's amazing. It flies by. And this gentleman is working with a lot of other very high-tech game analysis people, and they have been able to take all the footage that they've been able to find from people's cell phones and from the media and create a 3D rendering of Butler at that day in Pennsylvania. Because of what was recorded, they can tell you exactly which bullet is different than other bullets. Okay. They have discovered in their analysis and watching the reaction of people and how they were falling and doing, slow motion, that the original shots that were fired, number one, there was not just one shot, right? I think we all know that.
Right.
And the fact that the media, it's now silent on his assassination attempt. We should be talking about this a lot more, obviously, but the first shot or shots that were fired were actually from the tree line, and they came across the back row. His analysis of the ballistics was that the plan was to take out the counter snipers that were on the roof. So those images, which makes sense because those images that we saw of those counter snipers, it looked like they weren't prepared, right? They're like, oh my gosh, what in the heck? And then all of a sudden they crouch back down and they start to fire. Right. Everybody thinks, oh, well, that's because of the kid on the roof. They were actually, when they turned to the right and they turned to face the trees. So there was a sniper that was in the tree. And that's what happened first. There was also a person on the water tower. They actually show that. And the person on the water tower had such a large bullet. And I'm not a bullet person, so you'd have to watch the video to see the caliper. But it was so large that a gentleman actually caught the bullet on his camera, and then you watch the line of fire, and it hits whoever was on the roof, because I know that it was not who they say it was. And you can actually hear in his recording something that sounds like a melon being exploded. Right? So obviously that's when they killed that kid. Their line of reasoning is that he was told, you stay down until the counter snipers are taken out, and then you'll have a free shot. But he wasn't able to do so because he kept popping up, and so they took him out immediately. They also have footage and ballistic evidence
from underneath the kid in the warehouse coming out of the window. They actually have somebody who was just there. They have that video evidence to say that somebody was in that building where supposedly the CIA or the FBI was supposed to be, and they were firing out that window, probably to try to cover for crooks or for Jaeger or whoever the person was. It's very, very interesting. I'd encourage people to look that up. But
thank you.
Yeah, a lot more
stuff's
pieces
coming out,
fall into place, and it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, thank you for that. Really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. All right, we're going to come back. I will take more calls. 888-673-1450. So really just remember 673-1450. And you can call up. And I want to hear from you because I think that, well, there's a lot of talk shows that won't take callers. And I don't agree with that. I think that everyone needs to be heard. You really do, because people are awake. We've got info and needs to be shared. Be right back on the Kate Dalley Show. KateDalleyRadio.com.
Hi, I hope you're enjoying Patriot.tv. I'm Kira, and I am so excited to tell you about our new store. We have everything you could want to show your patriotism around your house. We've got artwork, we've got coffee mugs, there's health and beauty stuff, and even things to decorate with. I've got a few examples here just to give you a little look behind the scenes. First up, by the world-renowned artist Robert Holton, this is part of his Drizzle collection. Give you a better look at that. How cool is that Lady Liberty? Wouldn't that look great in your hallway? And there's even artwork you can wear on your body. God, Country, and Kin, amazing denim jacket for the ladies. Look at this detail and look at the back. Dangerous there with the twin pistols. And ladies, those are not just bullets, those are lipsticks. Yeah, you're dangerous all the way around, right? And there's also stuff you can put on your head. All about the cowboy core this year, right? Love these great hats they've got going. Check out the front and the detail on that with the longhorn. Lovely in the back, and it looks even better on. Yeehaw! Love to show my patriotism in a great cowboy hat. Check us out at the Patriot.tv store today. Join me there. So if you've got an itch to do a little shopping and show your patriotic spirit, click that link above that says store and join me there at the Patriot TV store.
When I started MyPillow, it was just a problem solution, one product company. Well, since then, with the help of my dedicated employees, we now have hundreds of products, some you might not even know about. To get the word out, we're having a $25 extravaganza. 2-pack multi-use MyPillows, $25. MyPillow sandals, $25. And for the first time ever, our 6-pack towel sets, you guessed it, just $25. Our brand new 4-pack dish towels, $25. And I've never done this before. Premium MyPillows with all new Giza fabric, any size, any loft level, even king size for only $25. And there's so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code for our $25 extravaganza. Order $75 and over. Your entire order ships absolutely free.
I'm going to play a clip from Candace Owens. She's been kind of interesting lately on her thoughts about the moon. A lot of people are voicing stuff. Joe Rogan's voicing stuff. Lots of people going, wait a minute here. Okay, so this is Candace. Here we go.
Like, you have your instinct. I always say, like, your gut is divine. Like that, somebody tells you something and you just go, doesn't really make sense, right? I don't really know. But then suddenly psychology, what they realize that if you just keep saying to someone something, it becomes true. And again, the bigger of a lie, people will believe it. And so what we have is what Scott Adams refers to as the non-expert problem. So your gut tells you, like, sounds pretty crazy that we went to the moon all these times for a couple of years and then we just didn't go back forever and we were just like done. Like, that sounds weird. And where's the technology? And they didn't even have cell phones. And like, you're telling me this, they live streamed this and there was a phone call. I don't know, like, it just seems like a little weird for like 1969. But you're like, well, I don't really understand kind of outer space. So I'm not going to debate this, but my gut tells me this is all BS. So then I decided to read this document. It was 119 pages. And I know there's a book too, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. And he just broke down the science in a way that was very digestible. So I didn't have a non-expert problem. And so there's a basic thing that you guys can do. If you're like somebody who's like, it had to have happened, the moon landing, what you can do is look up Van Allen belt. Okay, so there's a Van Allen belt. So we have never gone beyond that belt, right? There's been no human that's gone beyond that belt since the moon landings, allegedly. And not even Elon Musk, when they go out to space, they have to stay, like there is a space station, but like once you get 200 miles out, you hit the Van Allen belt, which has an incredible amount of radiation. NASA has said, like, in order for us to get through it, we'd have to have cement blocks around someone. So I want you to just Google, if you're watching this, the temperature of the Van Allen belt. Okay, just Google that. And you're gonna get something like, at the lowest points in the Van Allen belt, it's, I think, 3,000 Kelvin. And at the highest points, it's like 30,000 Kelvin. And then I want you to Google what material the shuttle was made out of. And then I want you to Google at what temperature
that would burn.
That would just burn. And you're just going to laugh out loud. You go, this literally doesn't make sense that an aluminum alloy could have gone through the Van Allen belt for an hour and a half or 59
and
minutes.
Been okay, and then went back up and came home, and nothing happened. Here are some of the excuses. This is right from NASA as to why we can't go back. Here we go.
In terms of more media release,
This is NASA.
Yes, absolutely.
We're working towards improving that. Trying to get you surface photos, because I know that everyone's hungry for those surface photos. More cameras. The message is loud and clear. It would be great to get a picture. We have that in the works, so more great imagery from the moon.
Video and pretty pictures.
We're as eager to see those images as the public is.
Obviously, imagery, we love it. We want to share it as much as we can. We want to report it. But if we're having issues getting it off of the vehicle.
Unfortunately, we just did not have time to go fix that.
It's going to take a little bit of time.
There is a capacity that we share, and we're being as transparent as we can here.
A little slower than we might have wanted.
Some hardware problems.
It's not pointing at Earth. Data flows out of mission control in a very sporadic way.
There are many, many other customers, science customers, that use the Deep Space Network. Actually slows the effort to share things with the team. Being a number of issues with file transfers. We did have a number of communications glitches. We had either forward or return link problems.
Also, during coast in the zero gravity of environment of space.
It's very difficult to transmit on the fly, if you will, and get that all the way back to Earth.
Struggle to get communications.
Unfortunately, they're going to be in the darkness. They will not be sunlit, so we won't get very good video of them.
Tip of the iceberg at its beginning, for people to realize, wow, this was an incredible success.
Okay, but we were able to do this, right?
And we're getting a picture on the TV. Got a good picture, huh?
He's on a long time ago.
The second man is on the moon.
But they can't do it in 2024? They could do it 60, years ago, but they can't do it now? That just doesn't make a lot of sense. I'll leave it there, and I'll take your calls when I get back. 888-673-1450. Be right back. That was all NASA. Last couple of years. Be right back.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your My Pillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
mypillow.com.
This is the Kate Dalley Show.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter.
Well, welcome back. So you're listening to the Kate Dalley Show. It's a Friday show, going deep down the rabbit holes today because there's so many of them provided to us by our government narratives over the years. And it's just huge. It's vast. In fact, it actually surprised me when I really started digging in. It's like unwinding a ball of yarn, and it just doesn't stop. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then so many things are coordinated pieces that actually fit together as part of a big, huge club of people that want to rule over things. So, in order to get control of people that want to be free, you would have to lie and deceive them. You would have to. It's really the only tool in the arsenal is to create fear and deceive. That's all you've got. And they do it in spades. They're masters of it. And they're just so good at it. Here's a concerned citizen wondering why we didn't go back to the moon. Here we go.
We're not getting to see these images live. The Apollo 11 landing was broadcast live. Why now don't we have the technology to see all of this live?
This ain't easy. It's not easy. Space is hard, but the moon is harder.
The moon is harder? Space is hard, but the moon is harder, and we don't have the technology in 2024 to broadcast live? Okay. By the way, I just wanted to mention a couple of things on that before I take calls. 888-673-1450. Number one, we stopped going back a month after the Vietnam War ended. A lot of people felt like they did this to get distraction and to get hope back into America during the whole Vietnam thing. And then we didn't go back a month after it ended, a literal 30 days after it ended. We didn't go back with lots of excuses and reasons as to why. When the Challenger went up, a lot of people feel like those people are still alive because there are certainly people that look exactly like them or a sibling that wasn't known to exist that suddenly exists, that sort of thing from the victims of the Challenger. And that the reason that they did that and exploded it, so those guys actually went down, the tunnel afforded them. When they go up in the spacecraft, there's a tunnel, there's a slide they can go down if they have to evacuate in an emergency. People felt like they went down that slide and they're still living their lives. And there's lots of pictures that would probably make people pretty curious about this, but that they exploded it because they wanted more excuses as to the fact that it was just too dangerous to go. So therefore, they could put a stop to things in 1986 and they could say, oh yeah, well, we had the Challenger, so therefore we can't go back up and it's too much of a problem. So you can take that for what it is. You can go do some homework on that. That's a really curious story right there. It's a really curious story. So, and you can go look at the pictures of how these people could look today, and I'll just tell you to go look at that. Okay, hi caller, welcome to the show. Go right ahead.
Hi, Kate. I'm calling back to apologize.
What's up?
I really don't know enough about Sandy Hook to disbelieve one person that used to be the CEO of the Utah Jazz, David Checketts, and then he moved to work for the New York Knicks, and he lived near Sandy Hook. So I could be wrong on that one. Okay. And also, if NASA sold me fake photographs when I was on my mission, shame on our government.
Right. I know.
And I want you to invite another guest on. He'll be down to participate in the senior games.
Yeah, okay.
He is my brother. He worked for Thiokol. He built some of those rockets, even some of those that failed.
If you can, why don't you email me that? Why don't you email me, Kate@KateDalleyRadio.com. Kate@KateDalleyRadio.com. Email me the name and number. Thank you. I don't want you giving that out on air. But I want you to email me because it goes to my StartMail account, and I will definitely look into that. Look, a lot of people thought what they were seeing was real, and many people that worked on the mission could have thought that too. Okay? They're really good master deceivers, and I would never underestimate the power of a lie being told over and over and over again, and I would never underestimate how they lie, because they can lie to an awful lot of good people that could be present, thinking what they're seeing on screen is real, thinking what they're involved in is real. And so I don't blame those people because I know that they could have been very well swindled in this. I don't blame them. I think that a lot of people were taken for a ride on that. And then there were a lot of people. There was a book that came out and it says, "We Never Went to the Moon." And it was from a guy back right when it happened. And he was part of the goings on with NASA. And he was deeply entrenched in that whole scene. And he came out with a book because he said his conscience would not allow him to go along with that lie. Also, go look at and so it's called "We Never Went to the Moon." You can still get it. No one ever talks about that book, but it's good. And the other thing is Dave McGowan, the moon, Wagging the Moon Doggy. That is another series you should look at with pictures, photographs, proves what he's talking about too. So there's some really good stuff. And I want to just make sure people realize, look, when Buzz told Conan O'Brien, "Oh, you saw a simulation," and Conan was shocked. He goes, "No, they said it was real though." And he goes, "Yeah, they said that, but it was actually a simulation." Okay. So here's another one for you. Okay. If you're bugged that I'm talking about the moon, people do, they just get upset. They get upset. Even you guys realize that the Dutch came out. NBC actually had to put this article out. The Dutch came out and said, what we were sold in moon rocks, that's petrified wood. That is not a moon rock. It could never be a moon rock when they finally did analysis on it. The Dutch came out and said, yeah, our government already deemed that a fake. Okay, so I'll play this. Here we go. This is about your computers. Here we go.
All your computer screens are blue lit. The reason none of them are red lit, the reason none of them pay attention to circadian biology is because that original technology was developed in a government program that Bobby Kennedy knows about, and I happen to know about because I went to medical school at LSU. For those of you who've never heard about Operation Paperclip, you think it's all conspiracy theory. So at Tulane Neurology and Tulane Neurosurgery in the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s, the CIA started a program there where they would do all these crazy things to monkeys. The CIA wanted to see how they could control things utilizing different things like drugs and things like that. Where the neurosurgeons got involved, which is my clade, we would drill tops of the heads off, put wires into the thalamus, put electricity in there, and kind of see what kind of behavioral changes we could have. One of the guys that was in that program was a guy named Professor Delgado. When he saw that we could control the behavior with the wired device, he said, what if we do it wirelessly? So he checked it in monkeys and checked it in bulls, and it turned out you can do it wirelessly with RFID chips and semiconductors. Then the CIA took it to the next level. They said, well, since this is electromagnetic radiation, what if we did it through light through screens? And it turns out you can. And that's the reason why all your computer screens have the frequencies they have. So why is this all important? Well, the person that set this meeting up between me and Bobby is the patent attorney that made sure that Google and Meta have those things so they can control the things that we all do. Where did the original idea come from that started off in MKUltra with the CIA? You're going to be surprised when you hear this. It came from the mafia in Las Vegas. They wanted to build a new city in a desert. They enclosed it all, blacked out the windows, invented slot machines that were blue lit. And they found out that they didn't have to take a gun, stick it in your face to steal your money. Then they even got smarter. They said, let's give people free alcohol while they're doing that. And they found out they got the money quicker. And that's when the CIA got the idea to start this program. That's really how it started.
Interesting, right? Okay. So I'll be right back, and I'll take your calls as we leap into the end of the show. And I'm so grateful for all the phone calls. I love them. Keep them coming. 888-673-1450. If you're listening live in the afternoon, it's right on my website, katedalleyradio.com. Be right back.
Former National Security Advisor Lieutenant General Michael Flynn pleaded guilty today to lying to the FBI.
He was one of the most respected generals in the military.
Every American needs this historical DVD keepsake. Flynn delivered the truth, whatever the cost. Hand signed by General Michael Flynn. Order now at the Patriot TV store. Use promo code PTV at checkout to get special savings. The Patriot TV store, a secure, hassle-free shopping experience.
Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2024, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
This is the Kate Dalley Show.
You are all I long for, all I worship and adore.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Kate Dalley Show. Listen, make sure and visit my sponsors. Keep us on the air because it's important, and I handpick my sponsors for a reason. And also, look, and get over to Patriot TV and use the coupon code Kate, and you'll really enjoy the content there too. That's something you can watch on your TV because you can just add it on your Roku. Listen, email me, Kate at katedalleyradio.com. The lies are endless. I could go in so many directions today. I'll take your calls. Look, if a talk show host ever tells you that you're not an adult if you ask questions about something that we've been told that doesn't quite make sense, realize that they might not be on the side of truth. And maybe they tell a lot of truth, but when it comes to the important stuff, protecting the deep state, they'll tell you it's not patriotic and you're not an adult and just go with it. It's like election fraud, the border, autism, skyrocketing, all of these things that we talk about on the show all the time. If somebody tells you not to ask a question, there's something wrong with that person and you should question them because it's the American thing to do. And if I was ever going to design a t-shirt, it would be get curious. Get curious, because of the fact that we're not curious enough because they want us just to believe what we're being told, and that doesn't do it for me. That's not okay with me. So, in any way. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show. Go right ahead.
Greetings, Kate. You know, the Act of 1871, it kind of explains it all when they created a corporation. Mm-hmm. The original Constitution for the United States became the Constitution of the United States, and even Barack Obama recognized himself as the CEO of the United States, which you only have CEOs in corporations. Mm-hmm. And then if you look at Dun & Bradstreet, you'll find the United States is listed as a corporation, and the president at the time is a CEO.
Right.
So the country's been hijacked. It's a imposter. It's a fraud. It's a government posing. Well, it's a corporation posing as government. Mm-hmm. And the people just need to wake up and just stop going along with the corporate entity and declare themselves to be the people, throw off the shackles of a citizen, and take back their rights.
Oh, thank you so much.
Not so easy.
I know. I've done shows on it. Thank you. I've actually done multiple shows on that. So just so you know, thank you for the call. I love it. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show. Go right ahead.
Hi, Kate. Love your show.
Thank you.
Just wanted to get your impression and your knowledge of what's going on in Utah with Utah trying to obtain BLM land. I'm concerned about that because I see that as a precedent, and here in Nevada we relish our BLM lands, and I hate to see the encroachment, slowly encroachment, and then selling off BLM lands for the money for the state.
Yeah.
So I was wondering what your impression is of what's going on in Utah.
All righty. I'll take you off there. I'll answer that real quick. There's way more to that. The federal government owns most of Utah, like close to 70% of Utah lands. So it's always been a problem for us, and we can't quite seem to be the bold state that says, no, you can't. So there it goes. But a lot of complicit county commissioners that are horrifying, and I know a few that are really horrifying, anti-free speech, anti-constitution, but they think they're constitutional. They go around making a lot of moves, and the people don't realize that after 20 years or so in power, that now they're paying more in taxes. We have less lands. We have all kinds of problems going on, but they don't attribute that to the county commissioners that are in office because they do a good sales job. And so this is going on all over the country because I get letters from all of you. So it's not just my area, it's all these different areas, and they're good liars. They're really good liars, but they go along with whatever the state tells them to do. They have no backbone, no integrity, and it's difficult. It's hard to call it out too, because when you call it out, you get censored by them. So it's a tough place to be. Also, if you notice, no talk shows ever talk about how to save your local community that are live on the air. They don't talk about it. They only talk about national issues, never how to save your local community. Now, I realize that a lot of local communities are kind of gone. I mean, it's hard. It's going to be very, very hard to get those back. But with enough concerned citizens, you could do it. If the masses would wake up and realize how they've been hijacked, how they're turning us into smart cities, how they're turning us all over the country into Agenda 2030, sliding it in and making it look like it's nice and tasty and fun, and it's not. And you're going to find yourself so deeply entrenched in Agenda 2030, we're not going to realize that at some point we will not be able to get out at all. There will be no hope in changing that. And so that's why I bring up local stuff a lot, because I know it's going on all over. That's why I do it, is because it's a concerted effort to get people to wake up and try to save their own communities from the horrifying cockroach-like politicians that descend into politics and stay there and sell out the state, sell out every city and county across America. There's 3,000 plus counties, and if you could save the counties, that's our landmass, folks. So you strengthen those counties, and you would be surprised at what could happen. Also, it just takes a couple of communities fighting back to get other communities to do it. Places like Springfield that have been completely diluted with Haitians put there. They didn't just travel there. They were put there. If we don't start fighting back as communities and getting a lot of attention on these problems, we lose our country as a landmass. But it can be saved in smaller portions through communities, speaking out, exposing, getting people to wake up, and getting together and finding really good ways to end some of the crazy. We're going to continuously be lied to by the bought and paid for media, newspapers, local newspapers. They're all run by the worst liberals you can imagine, the most gullible, not smart people that you've ever met in your life, because they glorify the AP. This is going to be a continuous problem. So everything in print, stuff on the air, stuff on TV, we're getting diluted with so many lies and so many opinions that they want you to feel in the narratives, that it's going to take us getting closer to God to realize what's fake and what's real. Because it's going to be that little gut feeling, that little thought, that little voice that says, that is what you listen to. And we're going to have to be really pretty good people and do some good things in our lives, and also work hard to be able to get those feelings, because that's the only way you're going to be able to tell. With all the AI, with all of the lying, with all of the ways that they brainwash us, you get close to God. That's going to be your way out. There was a great clip by Matt Walsh I was going to play. I'm not going to have time to play it, but he says, you decide who you are every single day when you walk through whatever door. You decide. You take in the information, and you decide what mood you're in. You decide how you're going to handle all this. And hopefully you'll handle it with hope and grace and humility, and continue to wake other people up. Be faithful, be fearless. Have a great weekend. I will see you back here on Monday.
Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2024, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.